But yeah, I mean, it's like, I know people quit shows, like I've said before, and I will say it a million times, I quit Heroes in the middle of season 4. I think I might have been one of the last remaining people in America watching Heroes, because almost everyone I know gave up after 2, 3, around there. But I loved most of season 1, and I wanted to see if the show could go back to where it was. Sometimes, and honestly,
but that's not what's so interesting, because it's like you got yourself to that point, and like, what's the breaking point then? You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna watch that much, it's almost worth saying, well, I might as well just watch to the end. Well, because I felt that way about How I Met Your Mother for a long time, until the end just wasn't coming, and then I was like, you know what? I have no idea if this is going to end. CBS doesn't want it to end, so I'm going to quit, and then when they announce the end, I'll go back and I'll watch that final season. And that's ultimately what I did.
For me, I ended up missing a bunch of episodes for Heroes, and it was before they announced it was going to be the end. So I was just like, you don't like the show. It's ridiculous. Right. Don't go out of your way to find a legal way to catch up on the show.
Madison, special guest star. Oh, bye.
So I wasn't going to then trouble myself. Then, of course, I did have the thought of, well, it's ending. Maybe you should just watch it. And now that the new Heroes miniseries is going to exist, I will catch up on that final season. I'll have to watch the entire thing again because I have no clue where the hell I left off. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because, I mean, you know, to be fair, the shows that I've loved the very, very most, I don't think they've gone through quite the same rough patches that shows I care about or like a lot have gone through. It sounds like various degrees of love. It sounds really weird and out loud. But it's like, yeah.
I feel like that makes sense, because obviously these shows that have these problems and that go through these, you're calling them rough patches, but I just call them messes. I mean, there's stuff that's not working there on a variety of levels, and it becomes less about like a personal thing, and a person like, I don't like this, and more about like, this show is a mess and should cease to exist. And the ones that are great and the ones that people attach to are not typically those shows.
I will say, I think that's something that's made it harder to quit, aside from the actual covering angle of it. I think I will speak for myself in this, and I imagine you are.
No, but that's why I'm asking, because I find this fascinating.
Because we're having an interview.
We
right
are
now,
because I'm fascinated by it. Because like
I will say,
I also think, and you can tell me if it's different for you, but I think like you give different types of shows different weight. Like you'll give certain shows 6 episodes, you'll give certain shows 3, you'll give some 2 seasons. Yeah. You know, you'll give some where it's like, well, I don't like this, but I'm gonna check back in every once in a while to see if it gets better. But some people do, and that's what I think is so interesting, especially today when you can get this content so many places at any time, and you don't have to feel like, well, if I feel like I'm missing something because people keep telling me it's better, I can get on board.
I will say for me, I think part of, it's not as strong, but it is certainly a factor in some shows. When I see they are a mess on my TV screen, if I know what's going on behind the scenes that's making it a mess, but sometimes I can allow more leeway if I know things are out of people's control.
Oh, I'm the opposite.
Or if I know that it's something they are just making a stupid decision because they think it's the complete right thing, then I'm more like, this is all you. But if I know something is significantly out of the writers or the actors or the director's control, or somewhere in the way that the storyline is being shaped due to outside forces.
Yeah, but outside forces are always industry. There's always still industry sources, and so that's a lot of times a case of like, sometimes the network wants a different show than the writer wants, and to me that to me is like indication that I should quit, because if the writer's not even telling the story they want to tell, what am I getting here? I'm getting something that who has a heart in this project? Nobody, maybe. And so, like, typically, I just, those are the ones where I'm like, you figure this out off screen and then give me a product. I don't want you to figure stuff out in front of me on screen.
I mean, I just feel like I have a little bit more allowances when I know certain storylines.
You seem to.
Where I know certain storylines are dictated because of things that are out of certain people's controls.
And I just get annoyed with that, because I'm just like, as somebody who worked in that business, I'm like, that's what's wrong with this business. Like, there are creative people and there are business people, and they are in their, to lack of a better term, No, but for lack of a better term, they're in those boxes for a reason. And if you hired someone to tell this, to write the show and do the story, let them do what, to a degree, let them do the story that they want to do and stop. You know, it's like Jason Katims told this great story about the network notes at Roswell, and he was telling us a very grounded, realistic relationship show that just happened to have some alien characters. And the thing was, the way that you related to the aliens, it was about differences, but it could be about anybody because everybody's different and everybody relates. And he just kept getting notes from the network that was like, aliens, aliens, aliens. Like they wanted more aliens, they wanted sci-fi. And he's like, do you not understand the show? And he didn't say it in those words, but it's like at a certain point, the show I pitched you and the show I'm giving you doesn't seem to be the show you're looking like that you want. So
I'm not talking about necessarily about that. I'm talking about more about sometimes there are storylines for various reasons that are just not even network and studio dictated always, but just outside forces make it. Yeah,
and they try things and they don't always work.
Right,
and sometimes they'll go back to
I sometimes have a little more tolerance with that.
Sure.